Ethical Dilemma on Individual Rights by Joe Reed. An ethical dilemma I would like to discuss is the violation of an individual's right, which include rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These rights begin when an individual is born, and they last throughout a person's lifetime. A person's cognitive ability is not a determining factor to whether a person is allowed these individual rights or not. Individual rights refer to the liberties of each individual to pursue life and goals without interference from other individuals. When you think about individual rights, you're probably thinking, what should I look for so I do not violate someone's rights? Autonomy. That's the right to make informed decisions and choices free from the outside influence. Dignity. It's the quality or state of being worthy of self-esteem or respect. Freedom versus free will. Freedom involves the ability of alternatives, while free will is the awareness of alternative choices. Values. It's formed by a particular belief that is related to the worth of an idea or a type of a behavior. Liberty is the freedom of choice within general systems of laws. As a behavioral analyst, we always want to support the rights and the provocations of our clients. This means that we will support individual rights under the law. Just because someone needs care does not mean they do not have the same rights as their non-disabled peer. An individual with Alzheimer's lived in a skilled nursing facility. An example of a violation for his safety was that he was often left without support. He needed it for walking, eating, and toileting. His dignity was also in threat of being violated, against his self-worth was lowering because he was not encouraged to dress himself and clean himself up and maintain a positive self-image. The next was an individual who lived in a residential home. This young man's dignity was declined because he was not supported by his behavioral analyst to do the task he was successful in, dressing and cleaning up. He was at risk of having his values violated since family was important to him and he was not allowed to keep specific things that were related to his family, like a blanket. Some things in history that support our individual rights. The Declaration of Independence supports life, liberty, and equality. The 14th Amendment for individual rights listed in our Bill of Rights, as well as the fundamental rights. The Individuals with Disability Education Act, which addresses physical liberties, institutional confinement, and the consent to treat or not to treat. Brown and the Board of Education, which is a decision about violating equals protection guaranteed by the 14th Amendment, about separation is inherently unequal. Some cases, one is about Anne. Anne was moved from a residential facility to a least restrictive facility and became ill and became more aggressive due to less socialization in the facility and was asked to move back by the staff that used to work at the residential facility, but those wishes were not met. Judge Susan F. Avery was a case about an elderly woman who was abused. The judge based a large portion of the findings on the rights of the older adult to be able to live with respect and dignity. Do not harm is a case about two individuals. Their deaths were prolonged due to the patients not having their own wishes known. The first was about a woman who had cerebral palsy and was developmentally disabled. She was not able to care for herself, her family who did not want her to suffer from all her numerous illnesses. The state attorney general sought court orders to prolong the treatment against the objection of the family. The second case was a 14-year-old boy who was terminally ill with Huntington's syndrome, who wanted to move from the ventilator, but the medical staff who actively treated the child enacted a court order against this. The Hippocratic Oath of do not harm is also something that behavioral analysts believe and should be protected under individual rights. The first study I wanted to mention was the one done on pigeons. It shows that these animals would much rather have a formative stimulus and a preferred choice. The next one was about a case where procedures were being modified to accommodate age-related changes, looking at the fact that someone could be intellectually challenged, but you also had to accommodate for their age when making choices. The next one is about learning more about what constituted abuse. And this one, the results suggest that residents could benefit from learning more about what constitutes abuse and neglect and what social services were available to assist them. The last was about capacity to evaluate, in which researchers studied on how to promote the involvement and minimizing exposure to harm. They were to ensure that individuals with intellectual disabilities are included rather than excluded on the basis of not wanting to break a code of ethics. What's next in regards to individual rights? First of all, we need to recognize what those rights are for our clients so that we can better support them and make sure we don't violate their rights as human beings. The next is helping our clients recognize what those rights are. Some of the clients we work with will have intellectual disabilities and have a hard time recognizing when their rights are violated. It is our job as a behavioral analyst to help them understand when those rights are being violated. The third is helping others recognize when they're violating someone's individual rights. People don't get up planning to do this. This is done typically by accident, just for lack of knowledge. Helping educate others and helping them recognize when they violate someone's rights and what to do in the future is a task for behavioral analysts to be able to do.